What's going on, everyone? This is Reggie Haynes, and you are tuned into another edition of the RHTV podcast. I am your host, and I'm here with my phenomenal co-host, Queen Edwina, and my other phenomenal co-host, King Kwame. We already know that weeks have gone by, and we appreciate all the support that you all have given us, and it's only growing because we have factual and passionate information that is uplifting our African people globally. Today's topic is going to be: why are there visa restrictions for melanated or African people who come from outside of the motherland who have to deal with visa restrictions within the motherland? But before we get into this particular topic, we're going to have libations from Queen Edwina. Queen Edwina, the floor is yours.
Yes, give thanks, Brother Reggie. So, the libation today, we are giving thanks to our most honourable brother, Ethiopian brother, whose name is Prince Alameyu, I say. He is the prince who was stolen from Ethiopia back in the 1800th century. And he is buried in St. George's Crypt, which is in Windsor Castle, which is in London. So we give thanks to Prince Alameyu for his life, for his service, and we pay attention to Prince Alameyu in the struggle, in the fight to repatriate his spiritual self and his bones back to his motherland, back to his people in Ethiopia. We also give thanks for the great Prince of Reggae, his name Dennis Emmanuel Brown, Right Honourable. Also give thanks for our brother, the most honourable African American, his name Brother Emmett Till. We also give thanks to our sister who was taken from us, crossed to the ancestors. Her name Breonna Taylor. We also give thanks to the brothers and sisters, ancestors now, who cross over to the ancestors on the Zong ship, which was a British slave ship, where our brothers and sisters were sacrificed and who crossed over to the ancestors in the time of the Atlantic trade debacle. And there were more than 200 of our ancestors, brothers and sisters, who crossed over on that ship, the Zong. Also giving thanks to our brother, Right Honourable Kelso Cochrane, who in 1959 was fatally stabbed in a racist attack in the Notting Hill area of London. And from that sparked the Notting Hill Carnival. Also give thanks to another African American brother, a great tribute going out to our brother, Right Honourable Barry White, who foretold events that are happening now. Such a great and talented musician, the great Barry White, I say. Also give thanks to an intellectual who spoke widely about our peoples, and in particular was a great author and somebody who brought the attention of Toussaint Louverture and the book The Black Jacobins, which is about the life of Toussaint Louverture, who led the many rebellions in Haiti and was there to be a leader of that Caribbean island of Haiti. And the book, The Black Jacobins, was written by the Right Honourable C.L.R. James, which Darcus Howe always highlighted in his speeches and talks. Also, like to give thanks to a great brother who crossed over to the ancestors recently, and a great actor. I'm talking about the Right Honourable Chadwick Boseman, such a fabulous actor in many productions, including The Black Panther. I also like to give thanks to a brother who is part of the Marley family, royal family. His name, Joe Mercer, who is the son of Stephen Marley. And also like to mention, well done to the Gen Z in Kenya, our brothers and sisters who sacrificed their lives recently for the uprising in Kenya. Keep focused, brothers and sisters. Do not give up. The diaspora is with you. Keep that Gen 2 spirit. And we millennials and baby boomers, we're with you. And I give thanks to the Most High, Jah Rastafari. Every time. Give thanks, Brother Reggie.
Give thanks, Queen Edwina. Thank you so much for that phenomenal libation. We really appreciate it. And when it comes in regards to, everything that we're going to be talking about today, we are going to get right into the subject of what we spoke about, why there is visa restrictions for those people who come from outside of the motherland who are melanated or of African ethnicity. Why are there visa restrictions for them whenever they go to different countries within the motherland? So we're going to kick things off with you, Queen Edwina. The floor is yours.
Okay, so when I visited Ghana back in 2023, there was the situation where to get into the country, we had to apply for visas. And it was quite difficult in applying in time. It caused quite a lot of stress and anxiety because the cost of a visa to visit Ghana, which is our homeland, obviously, the motherland, there was a lot of barriers that we had to negotiate. The cost of a visa, the time it took to apply for the visa, the actual navigation online of applying for the visa was not an easy process. It was almost like they made it as hard and most as difficult as they could. And it wasn't easy navigating the online application process. It was quite an obstacle course. And rather than applying online and getting to the end of it and waiting for a result, one of us had to actually go to London, which is about 200 miles away, to actually speed up the process and pick up the visas. And obviously this is extra cost to us. And to me, it doesn't make sense for I, the diaspora, who were forcibly taken against our will away from the motherland. And when we're ready to return to the motherland, when we're in a position to return to the motherland, there is all this red tape and restrictions. It's not how we as diasporans should be treated, really. when we got to the motherland, there were issues in terms of border force and restrictions at the airport that we had to navigate. So once again, unfortunately, we were kind of singled out. And I think this is because we entered the country via a visa. Another issue for me is that each country in Africa, 54 countries, apparently has an embassy representing every other country in. So in terms of, I'll explain that if you are in Ghana, for instance, every other country in Africa has an embassy within Ghana. That is what I've been told, which it really doesn't make sense to do that. Africa is one mass continent, and it was what happened at the Berlin Conference, 1844, when they sliced up Africa like they were cutting a cake and put borders in and claimed Africa for their own. These are the European nations at that time, talking about Britain, Portugal, France. These countries, clearly motivated by greed, had no respect for us as a nation, and clearly did not want Africa to develop. So in 2025, the chickens have come home to roost, and this type of behaviour towards another country is not tolerated. However, Africa is and remains subject to neocolonialism. So we give thanks for our brother, that is Ibrahim Traore, Captain, Most Honourable Ibrahim Traore, for what he is doing in Burkina. And we hope and we pray that other leaders in Africa will join him and look at making those of us who find ourselves in the diaspora, making it easier for us to become citizens of states within Africa, and also look towards the unification of the nations in Africa. For we are one nation, and we should have one king or queen, and we should work together as states of Africa, and that includes the Caribbean. And we need to come together as a nation and work together. And I'm sure that will happen and is happening. The time for division and divide and rule is over. We have a new generation, and we want to be working together for the greater good of everybody, not only in Africa, but in the world, because whatever happens in Africa has a knock-on effect. So So I give thanks for being able to speak so freely at a time when the truth is being held hostage. So, yeah, border restrictions in Africa does not make sense. And we in the diaspora, we need to work with our brothers and sisters in Africa and the Caribbean in order to support unity and Ubuntu. Give thanks, Brother Reggie.
Give thanks, Queen Edwina. Thank you so much for that powerful statement in regards to this powerful topic. Now we're going to turn things over to the one and only King Kwame. King Kwame, the floor is yours, sir.
All right, Brother Reggie. Yeah, and thanks for the opportunity. Yeah. Obviously I would mirror everything Queen Edwina is saying. Because we are directly linked to those who were taken, I think it should go without saying that there should be no visa restrictions. I mean, the thing is, I'm also aware that there are even visa restrictions to other African nations, to other African citizens. So, like, for example, I can give a clear example I know of, that a Kenyan citizen going into Tanzania is still restricted to a visa of 3 months. I think the most they can get is 3 months, but sometime, depending on who the actual officer is, immigration officer, it can be limited to 1 month. So if a Tanzanian border official maybe doesn't like the look of a person, or maybe is having a bad day, they can just decide, okay, I'm only going to give you 1 month. So sometimes when we are advocating for the rights of diaspora, no visa, I mean, we are also advocating for, because like Queen Edwina is saying, this should be a right of all Africans. But the thing is, there's been a lot of talk in the region, the East Africa region, of free movement. But then this example that I'm giving of a Kenyan citizen limited to 3 months at best, this shows that it's all just been talk. There's no real movement. There's no real movement apart from, as mentioned, somebody like Ibrahim Traore. But these other African countries, it's like there's no real movement. There's a lot of talk, but there's no real movement. I remember the time when President Ruto of Kenya, he announced everybody's welcome. For the diaspora, there's no restrictions. He announced it. I think he said it would be in place from that January, which was, I think it's either last January. No, it's probably the January before. But even now, today, if you go to the border as the African descendant person, you will not be able to go through without a visa, and you must apply for that visa online before you go. If you turn up at the border, they will turn you away. I've been turned away from Kenya. They will turn you away. You see? So it's nice to have all these nice sounding, fanfares, welcome our brothers back and all this kind of thing. But it has to be, it has to be more than just talking to win admiration and all this kind of thing, because they forget that when they say these things, it encourages people to say, okay, let me go to Kenya. I was talking with a brother in the street just this week, and he said, no, I know now everybody's free to go to Kenya because I heard William Ruto saying. But I told him, yes, he might have said it, but on the ground, it's a different thing. The reality is a different thing. So, yes, there should be no visa restrictions for us as diaspora, but even for other Kenyan nation, either for other African nations, I just don't even understand why one African nation would limit the entry of another African nation. It doesn't even make any kind of sense. It doesn't make any kind of sense, you know, and I'm not talking about people without passports. People have their passports. They have some type of travel document to show where they come from and all those kind of things. So I'm not just saying total free movement because you are black, you know, because you are African, you know, because we know those days. Well, we don't know if ever we'll see those days because people will always talk about security issues and those kind of things. But they're letting in Europeans just based on them being European. No one's scrutinizing their background or anything like that. But then your own neighbors, your own African brothers, you want to scrutinize their background and say, you know, he might be a criminal or something like that. But look at the amount of Europeans traveling in, and many are criminals because we even see where they come and even attempt coups and all this kind of thing. So it's like it's one law for if you're an African, but no law if you're European. Just let these Europeans just come in because allegedly they're bringing money into the economy. You see, so this thing. I mean, just like Queen Edwina was saying. I mean, this is all a hangover from you know, colonialism. You know, where we mistrust our own, but yet we are seeing we see these Europeans like they are, I don't know, like they are angels. And as I've said previously, I have had Kenyans, I have had Tanzanians saying to me in conversation, Europeans don't lie. They will say white people don't lie. They will tell me straight, and this is with a straight face, white people don't lie. So if the average person thinks that, if maybe some of these immigration officers think that, then no wonder they are so untrustworthy of us as black people, African people, but so willing to let these Europeans just come flooding in with all the nonsense that they do. Because that's another thing we have to realize, that these Europeans are coming in and many of them are messing up our women. Many of them are messing up our women. But the thing is, it is not being made an issue of, because they don't want to discourage other Europeans. You see? So I won't go on too much, but you can see where my stance is, where I'm coming from. Yeah, so I'll leave it there for now. But yeah, obviously I believe that we should, you know, they should be able to make an exemption for us as diasporas. But if they cannot even make an exemption for their own African neighbors, then it's like we are a world away from getting any movement on this, because I couldn't believe it when I saw that Kenyan citizen stopped from staying more than 3 months in Tanzania. And I just couldn't believe that. That's your neighbor. There's so much talk about this free trade area for East Africa. But then we see it's just talk. It's just talk. So I'll leave it there for now anyway. Yeah. Okay, give thanks, Brother Reggie. Give thanks.
Give thanks to you, King Kwame. I've been waiting for this episode for a long time. And it's always a pleasure, King Kwame, to hear your wise counsel and hear your take on subject matters like this. Before we go to our commercial break, all three of the people that you are listening to right now, we have been in the motherland. I am still, as we speak right now, I'm still here. And everything that King Kwame and Queen Edwina have said is 100% true. On TV, they will make it seem like you are welcomed. When you get here, there are hidden agendas. There are many restrictions. And as King Kwame was just stating, and I'm also going to add to this, King Kwame, Europeans, every time I go to immigration, no matter what day, no matter what time, the lines for people that look like me are so long. And the people who are in line, they take their precious time and they always ask me, when are you leaving? The lines next to me, and this is just for visitors visas. The lines next to me are the ones for permanent stay, doing business visas, basically people who are purchasing land so they can start their businesses. They're flooded with Indians, Europeans, and Chinese, Asians. And it's all the time. And I've talked to too many people to where they're constantly shaking their head at the issue. Now, this is within Zimbabwe. When I was in Malawi, luckily enough for me, when I was there, this was back, I think, February 2024. I was trying to figure out a way, how can I stay here? And mind you, Malawi is very welcoming. How can I stay here and continue my, volunteer work? And out of nowhere, I got a news report early in the morning from somebody, and it read that if you have a U.S. passport and I believe a U.K. passport, you are free. Your visa restrictions are lifted when it comes in regards to visiting restrictions. And I was elated. I was happy. I was like, wow, okay. And no more visa restrictions came my way when it came in regards to me wanting to volunteer, get other visas or obtain other visas within that country. Zambia has always been welcoming to those who I believe have a U.S. passport. Not too sure about the UK, but I'm pretty sure that works. Zimbabwe is a hassle. Zimbabwe is a hassle to where you have to pay, I think, 20 USD per 3 months, every 3 months. And then after 3 months, if you want to extend it, you have to pay 100 USD per month after you stay. So I never stay in Zimbabwe for more than 6 months because I'm like, that's just ridiculous. Point that I'm trying to make is to where sitting here seeing how everything works firsthand. And what I didn't mention is that those particular Asian, Indian, and European ethnic groups, when they go to the visitors visa line, they get stamped. Sometimes people don't even really take a good look at their passport. And the question that they're asked is, how long are you staying? The questions that's asked to me and other people who visit from outside of the motherland, who are melanated, African, or as they say in the West, Black, get asked, when are you leaving? I want you guys to think about that as we take our first commercial break. Again, you are tuned in to the RHTV podcast. I'm your host, Reggie Haynes, and you are here with the phenomenal co-host, Queen Edwina and King Kwame. We'll be back after these messages. Reggie Haynes here, and I had a few seconds to talk about a new brand called Art of the Covenant. Well, it's not really new, but it's new to you if you're a listener for the first time. Art of the Covenant, sponsored in part by Queen Edwina and King Kwame. They bring historical facts and evidence that proves that the original people are African, melanated, and as they say in the West, Black. So do whatever you can to support Art of the Covenant, and you won't regret it. Peace. And we're back on the RHTV podcast. We've had a phenomenal episode so far, and this is an episode that I've been anticipating for a long time. We are talking about visa restrictions within the motherland towards people who are coming from outside of the motherland. Who are melanated, as they say in the West, Black or African. And we're going to ask a question to Queen Edwina and King Kwame. And that question is, why do you think that there are visa restrictions for people that look like us who are not born within the motherland? And what do you think the solutions should be with this particular issue? Queen Edwina, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so this, in my opinion, comes from the Berlin Conference and what happened when Africa was carved up. The ongoing legacy of that, what happened in 1884, the knock-on effect of that has unfortunately changed people's minds. And somebody wrote, I think it might have been John Henry Clark, basically said that the most effective and dangerous weapon that the oppressor has is the mind of the oppressed. And because of colonialism, the fact that these European countries came into Africa and they basically, with their barbaric oppression of the people, that has a knock-on effect. And the mind of the oppressed still feels that they must subdue to these old colonial so-called powers. So even though things should change, things are changing very, 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 very slowly. The attitude, the mindset of authorities within Africa is still of a non-progressive manner. We have authors and leaders such as Mia Motley in Barbados, radical leaders who speak the truth and who have Africans' best interests at heart. Dr. Arikana as well. And Julius Malema, I will put in there without apology. And of course, Captain Ibrahim Traore and others, our intellectuals from Africa. We have to change things. Things have to change for the better for our people. When I say our people, I'm speaking about those in the diaspora, those still at home, the Caribbean, South Americas, especially, because what has gone on there, nothing short of genocide in South America of our people. So within Africa itself, this mentality of looking to the oppressor to save us, that has to go. It has to go. And we want and we need free movement in Africa. The most vibrant and biggest economies in the world are in Africa. I'll say that again. The most vibrant and up-and-coming economies, fastest growing economies in the world are in Africa. You know, and the leaders over there on the motherland need to work together, possibly under the Organisation of African Unity, which His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie set up. We have to be firm, we have to go forward, and we have to work together for the benefit of all of us. We can't have these borders separating and dividing us. It doesn't make sense, as King Kwame has said. That just doesn't make sense. And, you know, whoever is influential in this topic has to speak out and help us to become as one on the continent. What a power that would be when Africa is free. Thank you.
Thanks. Give thanks, Queen Edwina. And now we're going to pass things over to King Kwame. King Kwame, the question is, sir, why do you think that there are visa restrictions within the motherland, and what is your solution on how we can abolish this problem? The floor is yours, sir.
Yes, Brother Reggie, give thanks again. I would still go back to, like previously, Queen Edwina said, this thing about the legacy of colonialism. It's so important because what it shows, it's a bit like the old, sometimes we term it in the Caribbean, we term it crabs in a barrel syndrome. You know, it's like we are, because of the legacy of colonialism, we are so self-hating, you know, as Africans, full stop. That's why an African death is in relation to a European death is meaningless, or it doesn't have the same weight. You know, so even in media in our own African countries, you know, if a European was killed or something happens to a European, it's going to be big double page news. You know, but if an African is killed, maybe it won't even, unless maybe it's a politician, you know, it won't even make any headlines. So we don't value ourselves. We don't value, and when I'm saying that, I mean that, you know, like these officials, whoever, you know, they don't see, when they're looking at another African, they're not seeing anything. It's just like, who are you? But when they're seeing a European, it's yes sir, how can I help, sir? You know, it's those kind of things. So the problem is psychological. It's a big psychological problem. You see, so that's why if we are to look at the solutions, it's a hard one, really, because there's so many ways things could be better. You know, I mean, we could suggest even fast track of diasporans, and when we are saying diasporans, we mean, you know, if we're talking about in Kenya, then when we're saying diasporans, that means anybody on the continent, not just I and I who were taken, descendants of those who were taken, you know. But we know in African countries, you know, just like Brother Reggie has already said, we know that those lines for fast track, if anything, they're going to be fast tracking Europeans instead of fast tracking Africans. So it's a deep-seated problem. Education obviously is the key, but we know currently in many of our countries, education is still like a colonial education. So the only time our African brothers are seen as an issue is when they're looking for reparations. But even then, it's like they can talk about reparations, but still they don't talk about the diaspora. So maybe all we can really hope is that what's happening in Burkina Faso can spread. You know, that's the only way we can hope, is that kind of, you know, that can be like a beacon of light to other African countries and see, well, yes, we should be doing what they're doing. You know, that aside, to be honest, I feel it's going to take, so, you know, we can't say it's not going to happen, because apartheid finished and nobody could envision apartheid falling. So these things, you know, there's always a way, you know. But like we're saying, I think when we look to what Ibrahim Traore is doing, and like so many of us are saying, you know, may the Most High protect this brother and all that he is doing, because it is the one beacon of light throughout Africa, and obviously the others who are with him. But again, as we know, there are many even who are talking about Ibrahim Traore, but again, it's talk. It's not action, because some other countries have said, yes, we agree with what he's saying, but still they're not changing their policies because they are looking at over their shoulders of what their colonial masters are telling them to do. So, yeah, it's going to be hard, but I think initially how things will change is because we know that the buying power of I in the diaspora is big, and I think that's what Ghana were looking at when they initially talked about the year of return. So money talks. So I think that will be one way. But in terms of looking at us as brothers and things like that, I think that will be so long coming. You know, so it's hard to be optimistic about that one. But yes, I just say we look to see what Brother Traore is doing, and even me, I intend to personally go to Burkina Faso and see what the situation is on the ground, because as we say, talk and media is one thing, but actually on the ground, it's good to actually go to somewhere on the ground and see, you know, if going to immigration, see how the people are, how the people react to you. Because as I've said, sometimes when you go to a country, it's the power that these immigration officials have is astonishing. Because as I say, they can just have a bad day and just decide they don't like the look of you, and they can you know, cause all kind of problems. I mean, I've had so many problems from immigration officials. You know, like I've had one immigration official say to me, you know, why do you, he looked at my passport and he saw how often I came to Kenya, you know, saying, you know, why do you keep coming to Kenya for so long? Because when I go for a long time, months on end and things like that. And they say, why do you keep coming here for so long? Because he actually said it's a red flag. That's what he said. It's a red flag for an African to come back to his continent. It's a red flag. He said, we want you to come, spend some weeks, and go back to your home. That's what he said. We want you to come, spend your money, stay a few weeks, and then go back home. We don't want you staying here months. This is what an official said to me. And what I'm saying is, this is not isolated. These things, this is how people are thinking. This is how they are thinking. You see? So that's why when I say I'm pessimistic, is because those are the people at these borders. You see? Like Brother Reggie was saying, the most welcoming border I've been to so far has actually been Zambia. Had problems that, well, I've mainly traveled to Tanzania and Kenya, and that's where I've had so many problems in the past. But yeah, Zambia, I didn't have no problems, and I don't even think I was required to have a visa. I cannot remember, but I don't even think I was required to have a visa. But yes, so I'm saying education is a big key, a change in mindset. You see, and unless something drastic changes, like we say, like what's happening in Burkina Faso, it's hard to see things changing soon. Anytime soon, it's hard to see things changing. But you know, we you know, the Most High is powerful, so things can happen. Things can happen. So on that note, yeah, I will leave it for now. Yeah, give thanks, Brother Reggie.
Give thanks, King Kwame. Give thanks for that powerful testament. Before we go to our next commercial break, I wanted to share a story. This story is, I'm going to try to make it short and sweet. There was a few people who traveled to the motherland because when they were young, they saw all the illusions and the lies that were placed on the motherland, and they said, you know what? If you're going to paint a negative picture about this place, this amount of time, put all this money, put in all of this effort, all this energy to make a place seem so bad, you're hiding a lot of good there. These particular individuals went off to the motherland, went to different places. When they went there, they were welcomed at first, and then as time went on, people started wondering, why are you still here? What these people didn't know, the ones who were within the motherland, that these people were using their resources that they took from the West to save lives each and every day. Eventually, those same people within the motherland who kept on, making the people feel bad because they were staying there, and they weren't really, the people who were visiting from the West, they weren't, all loud about it. They weren't egotistical about it. They didn't even let people know that they were saving lives. They were just doing it. Basically, the people in the motherland said, hey, look, you know what, you guys have overstayed your welcome, immigration, your visa's up, you got to go. These people went back to the West. Time goes on, those people in the motherland are missing those people that came to visit them. Started calling them. When are you coming back? Why did you leave? The people in the West said, well, you didn't want us there. The point of this story is to where when people are coming from the West, these are your most biggest supporters. And I'm talking to the people in the motherland. These are your biggest supporters. And this story involves 3 of the people who you are hearing talking to you right now. And when you are pushing away your only help, you can't be asking yourself, why are we 10 years behind? Why are we oppressed? Why are we losing our resources? Why do bad things keep happening? Why is our Jesus, our white savior, not helping us? Newsflash. Your savior your savior that you believe that's outside of your race is not your savior. It's not your helper. It's not your ally. It's your enemy. And you are giving your all to your enemy. Find your brain, put it back into your head. And I know that's an insult, and that's fine. I would rather me insult you by telling you to find your brain rather than congratulate you and say you're doing a great job without your brain intact. People within the motherland, you are praising and uplifting your enemy, and it's leading you to your own demise, and you are pushing away your helpers. Again, this is Reggie Haynes. You have tuned into the RHTV podcast. I'm so thankful for all the listeners and supporters from the past. If you guys are interested in sponsoring not just the RHTV podcast, but also the phenomenal business and brand created by Queen Edwina and King Kwame, Art of the Covenant, please click on the description box below on this video, and also any description that we have that is connected to this particular podcast episode, and all of the information to contact us is right there. We're going to take our last commercial break. You guys stay tuned for more on the RHTV podcast. Reggie Haynes here, and I had a few seconds to talk about a new brand called Art of the Covenant. Well, it's not really new, but it's new to you if you're a listener for the first time. Art of the Covenant, sponsored in part by Queen Edwina and King Kwame. They bring historical facts and evidence that proves that the original people are African, melanated, and as they say in the West, black. So do whatever you can to support Art of the Covenant, and you won't regret it. Peace. And we're back on the RHTV podcast. For all of those people who have been tuned in, I want to let it be known that we appreciate you guys subscribing to the YouTube channel, liking our videos, liking our content. Do not forget to support the Art of the Covenant Instagram page. That is official _ Art of the Covenant. Art _ of the _ Covenant official Instagram page. You guys go ahead and subscribe to that, and also follow that page, and know that the creators are on this page. That is King Kwame and Queen Edwina. Now, how we're going to close off this show, we're going to have our final quotes from Queen Edwina and King Kwame in regards to what would be their final words to the people who are in charge of the visa restrictions and also just immigration in general. But before Queen Edwina gets to that, she has something that she wants to say, and then she's going to get into her final quote. Queen Edwina, the floor is yours.
Yes, give thanks, Brother Reggie. So I would just like to clarify that the libation message for the Gen Z in Kenya was basically, well done to the Gen Z in Kenya. Keep focused and don't give up. Never, ever, 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 ever give up. The diaspora is with you, brothers and sisters of the Gen Z. Keep the Gen Z spirit, because we baby boomers and millennials, we're with you. Know that. So, in terms of speaking to authorities who are able to change how border controls is in Africa, my message is to the great Mia Motley, president of Barbados, and also CARICOM members who I know are working hard to which is make Africa great again. The border situation, it's crucial for free movement in the continent, within the Caribbean. We need that free movement so that we can spend our hard-earned money on the continent and in the Caribbean to keep the economy driven and allowing the economy to grow, not only in the Caribbean, but also in Africa. And that free trading is crucial, because if we had a United States of Africa, which included the whole of Africa and the Caribbean and South America, where most deeply melanated people have found themselves, we can be MAGA. Without a shadow of the doubt, we can be, and we should be. Because remember, Africa is the richest continent on the earth. It has everything there. Gold, diamonds, copper, rubber, lithium, cobalt. You know, I could go on, and we've got the greatest inventors there as well. Some of our African brothers and sisters are truly shining with their inventions, and you just have to look on WhatsApp to see what's going on. I'm talking about cars that don't need diesel, that don't need unleaded petrol, doesn't need them things, because they run on a different vibranium or a different fuel. That it's our African brothers and sisters who are the inventors who are coming out with this. And let's not forget that those in the diaspora, including myself, received an education that said Africans didn't contribute to anything. That's what we were taught. But outside of that, when you learn the truth, the great inventors that we have, who have contributed to where they were brought up, absolutely amazing inventors and pioneers, you know, too numerous to mention, but maybe we should do a podcast on their contribution, because believe me, we will be there for hours. That's how great our inventors and pioneers were. So, to the authorities who are holding the natural progress and development of Africans' people, you need to stop it and open up the borders. Let Africa flourish. Let each and every one who is going home be allowed to spend their money within that economy, so that our economy can thrive and we can thrive together. So these colonial nations who ripped our continent apart were Belgium, France, Germany, Britain, Portugal, Italy, Spain, and the Dutch. And we need to know that. Our children need to know that. Our grandchildren need to know that. And our great-grandchildren, so that it can't happen again. It's Marcus, the Right Honourable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who said, we need to know our roots, because a tree without roots isn't going anywhere. We as a nation need to know our history, or her story, or our story. We need to know it to move forward. And I think what was mentioned was that we're the only nation who appear to be holding a white deity as our deity, as our God. No, it can't happen like that. We can't be fooled. Do not be fooled. Your God looks like you. My God looks like me. It has to be. It makes sense. So we as a people, we need to move forward. We're needed at this point in time to support each other, to help each other, and move forward. And opening up the borders and free trading needs to be the way to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Queen Edwina. Thank you so much. Now we're going to end things off with King Kwame's final quotes about what we've spoken about today. And King Kwame, if you could say anything to the people who are in charge of the visa restrictions or immigration in general when it comes in regards to allowing people from outside of the motherland who are melanated African, or as they say in the West, Black, inside with no restrictions, who are in Africa, what would that be, sir? The floor is yours.
Yes, give thanks again, Brother Reggie. Yeah, again, I would wholeheartedly mirror what Queen Edwina have said. In addition, yes, I would say, look at us as your brothers and sisters. We are not your enemy. That's number one. We are not your enemy. You see, look at us as your brothers and sisters, because when we come, we have your backs. When we come to Africa, we are looking out for Africans, because we see we are amongst our brothers and sisters. We are the ones who lived amongst what we can only describe as our enemies. We've seen the treatment we've had there. So when we come back to Africa, we have the backs of Africans, because we see the greatness in Africans. Even if many Africans, we cannot say all, but many Africans, and a lot of it is obviously because of miseducation. But if we can see in Africans what Africans don't see in themselves, that has to be appreciated. You have to see these are people with a different mindset. You see, we are coming with a different mindset. We are coming to uplift, to enrich. That's what we're doing. We come from the same roots as you. We have the same origins. So see us as brothers and sisters. We are looking to settle. We are looking to spend our money. We are looking to invest. We are looking to uplift Africa. Just like Queen Edwina is saying that Africa will be great again. We can already see greatness in Africa. Africa will be great again, but it needs us all on board, singing from the same hymn sheet to bring this to fruition. And what our brothers and sisters in those immigration offices and all those kind of positions, what they have to realize is when Africa does become great, when these big changes happen, it is your children and grandchildren are going to say, oh, my father or auntie or uncle or mother was an immigration officer. I wonder what they did to bring this to fruition, to bring this no borders to fruition. I wonder, were they positive? or were they negative? Were they anti-African? Because that's what it is. Were they anti-African or were they pro-African? And you would want your children and your children's children to know that you played a part in this great day when we have no more restrictions on our African brothers and sisters. And when I'm saying that, I'm saying, yes, I in the diaspora, but even the other African nations, because that's what we are looking for. Wazungu are coming in there just looking in for privilege for themselves. We are looking for privilege for all of us as Africans. That's what we are looking for. That's what we are looking for. So see us as your brothers and sisters and think about what your children and your children's children will think about what you are doing today. And with that, yes, I think that's enough for now. Yes, I give thanks, Brother Reggie. I give thanks.
I give all the thanks to you, King Kwame. You too, Queen Edwina. Powerful, powerful, powerful episode. I'm going to end off on this note. I was doing a interview the other day with Kelvin Biriati. People in Zimbabwe know him as a well-known YouTuber. And he even asked me on camera, he was like, Reggie, you know, there's a lot of people, when you came on the first time, people were saying, what is he running away from? What criminal offenses does he have? You know, does he have child support issues? And me, I'm not a person that's trying to appease anybody or prove anything. But what I did state was, by law, when you have a passport and you go to the U.S. Embassy and all these different places, immigration, when they scan your document and your passport, it pulls up your entire record. So you cannot have child support. You cannot have criminal offenses. You cannot have all of these different things. You will not be allowed in any country that I can recall. If you have any type of criminal offense, they will get their guards and they will deal with you right then and there. And they will make sure that you do not enter their particular borders. So with that being said, the people that are coming to the motherland, you know that when the people, like I said about the story in our previous segment, you know that they're not here to criminalize you or do anything disrespectful. Had that been the case, they wouldn't be allowed at all. So going back to what King Kwame was stating, we are your allies. We are your brothers. For the women, they are your sisters. Treat them accordingly. And I guarantee things are going to progress. And also what King Kwame stated, when it comes in regards to the future, they are going to look back. They're going to look back at the past and they're going to ask, what part did you play in revolutionizing something that changed, that shouldn't even have to be changed in the first place? We shouldn't even be having this conversation. So for those people that are going on TV, going on social media, oh, please come back home, please come back home. Show me better than you can tell me, because at this point, words don't mean a thing, but actions do. And guess what? Your seeds, your successors are going to see everything that you did or you didn't do. My best advice, be on the right side of our story, not his story. Again, this is Reggie Haynes with the RHTV Podcast. Phenomenal episode. I want to give thanks to Queen Edwina and King Kwame. Do not forget that all of the links that are tied into Art of the Covenant, their phenomenal brand, is in the description below or in the description that is connected to this podcast episode. I want to say that we have more content coming soon. And it's just been a phenomenal honor being a part of this journey with Queen Edwina and King Kwame. Until next time, I am signing off. Peace and love.